Hello again, and welcome to this final section. We're near the end. This is the part where I will be curating my portfolio, reflecting on it, giving my thoughts on it as well, and any comments I have. If you look beneath this video, there will also be acknowledgements and a few sources for all the material that I have not cited in the second section. So let us begin. I think I will be starting with a comment on the distinct lack of academic material on the subject I was exploring. I had lots of trouble finding articles pertaining to my subject. And even when I did find them, there was more material on the elephant within a culture as an afterthought. It was never the main focus of the study. It was usually in an ethnography as an afterthought to the main study, which was humans. So finding the material I wanted was a bit of a struggle. It also surprised me how much material there was from an Occidental perspective within a European context, which is not what I was looking for, as I was trying to know the elephant's place within African culture and not within European one. So that also made me think about those questions about the colonial history and the post-colonial context that we have in these countries. And I also found there to be an important contrast. The Asian elephant had lots of material on it within its cultural context, within its geographical context, which was what I was looking for its spirituality meaning, its spiritual meaning, its symbolic meanings, its role within those social interactions, both by Asian authors and European authors. It also made me think, though I did not have time to explore it in this portfolio, about the different trajectories for both elephants, for both species. There exists a dramatic disparity between Western and African history, culture, society trace. I realized during this portfolio and doing this research that I know almost nothing about African anthropologists, and all the material I found was not written by an African anthropologist. This huge, even within this small subject where there was very little material, everything I found was written by a Westerner. And even in a broader scale, there is very little material written by African anthropologists on the topic of African culture, which is very strange to me. I realized that off the top of my head, I could not even cite one African anthropologist, and even less on the subject of animals. Those are the comments on the academic part. I would also like to add that the African elephant is, to me, a personal experience, but it's also it's a personal experience to me, but also to people who live in close proximity to it. The African elephant is both revered and exploited. It is seen as wise animal. The elephant the elephant is the elder symbol in the savannah. As the lion is king, the elephant is the old wise advisor. The smart one in the proverbs. It's prestigious to have as your totem, and it shows up a lot in totemic tribes. So all of these views and relations and interactions with the elephant are points that I did find very interesting in this portfolio. I also had not realized at all how present the elephant was in my childhood, though once I started, I also realized how much it was both present and how much I cared about it. I had not realized how much I took this to heart. So I will be moving on now to my portfolio thoughts. So I did have lots of fun with this project. I enjoyed the process more than my other assignments. It made me think in ways I usually don't, and though that could also be attributed to the course, but I think it's a very nice way of presenting an assignment, very nice way of going about it. I want others to consider things in this way. It's a good exercise to be reminded of the other species that we share the world with and how much we impact them, but also realize how much they have an impact on us. So, going back to this anthropological perspective, I wish more was written by African anthropologists about African anthropology. But I also see the reasons why that may not be, as there may be other priorities for African anthropologists to deal with rather than animals. So if it's a story of priorities, it may be one of the reasons. I also was happy to consider the complex socio-economic implications when the subject of animals is being brought up, especially when the animal is important to both the economy and the culture. I hadn't really considered my position in relation to animals and other humans' relationship to the same animal. I hadn't realized how different they could be. My privilege also did raise many questions in this portfolio, and it seems that my privilege is both something that brings up questions but also allows me to ask them, as I am now in a position where I can consider them. So it also raised the question of my bias in this study, in this assignment, and in a more general way. There was also a comment I want to make about the more formal academic research project. I think it would be necessary to have much more fieldwork and cross-referencing of the ethnographies. Fieldwork would center around the elephant rather than the humans, as I've seen lots of ethnographies and studies do. So the difference, if I wanted to take this portfolio to an academic research level, I would need fieldwork surrounding the elephant in societies rather than as an afterthought. The cross-referencing would be useful to see its presence, because it was present in these ethnographies despite being almost involuntarily erased from the culture. I doubt that I would want to push this to that point, though. It would be very interesting to know and see what I would find, but I feel that I would want to do that for many of my assignments and projects. I would love to push it further and see what I could find, but I want to do that for so many that it would be very hard to choose this one over another. I would also love the opportunity to work on something where there's such a lack of material. That does attract me, as it means that there is no answer as of yet to the questions I'm asking, and being the one to find those answers would be very nice. I would also be going back to my home continent where I spent most of my life. Though keeping it as an ongoing portfolio is also a very nice idea, it would be less time consuming than pushing this to the research project level, and it also allows me to pursue other research projects at the same time. So I might keep this portfolio as an ongoing one. This portfolio also had the potential to be super vast. In the beginning, I was considering speaking about cross-cultural comparison of the elephant and its symbol, its place, its meaning. The elephants as a symbol, as a topic in and of itself as well was considered. Elephants in Disney movies, because I've seen a lot of them, and I also really like the different portrayals of the elephants in movies. I would also want to explore perhaps the current elephant-human relationships and socio-economic implications, what with the recent conflicts that are happening. So yeah, I would say all in all, this portfolio was a very nice experience that I did enjoy very, very much. So I would give an A+ to this assignment. Not to myself, to the general way of processing the information. And I would like to conclude there. I would also like to thank Professor Cunningham and the teaching assistants Rachel Levine for making this course very enjoyable and very easy to learn from, as well as challenging previous conceptions and challenging myself to think more. So thank you for that. I would also like to thank my parents for helping me gather the pictures that I use in this portfolio. So that is about it. Yes. Thank you very much for following me through this experience, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you about this. I hope you enjoyed my portfolio, and I will be seeing you another time. So goodbye for real this time.